What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome into the Bulls Report. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, the Bulls made multiple roster moves ahead of their season opener tomorrow night versus the Pelicans. And also, I do just want to go over some of the top storylines around this team before the season begins. But before we dive into that, guys, if you guys are fired up and you are excited for the season, just give me a me down below in the comments section. As you know, most of us do assume the Bulls are going to lose a lot of games this season. But I was talking with a couple guys in the office earlier today. They should be at least frisky and fun to watch. Like, you may have one of the worst defensive backcourts in NBA history with Giddey, Kobe, and Levine, but they should be able to put up a lot of points. So if you guys are fired up to watch this Bulls team, just type me down below. Now, what are the roster moves here? So they started off, they signed Talen Horton-Tucker to the active roster, as this was pretty cool to see. You know, hometown kid, played his high school hoops at Simeon Academy, and he actually becomes the third player from Simeon to join the Bulls team. First, obviously, Derrick Rose, and then Jabari Parker, and then THT becomes the next member of that group. But I'm a big fan of him. Like, obviously, he went to the Lakers. He got traded to the Jazz for, I think that was a Patrick Beverley trade a couple years ago. But I am a big fan of him. He's got a super long wingspan, and the thing is with THT, he's got underrated playmaking ability. He can handle the ball very well. But the thing with him, I want to see him take a step up defensively because he is a very, very good athlete. He's got a very long wingspan. He should be better than what he is. I think maybe it just comes down to effort a little bit with him. But if he can turn into a, let's just say a plus defensive guard for the Bulls, maybe he could be like your 9th, 10th guy off the bench this season. I wouldn't hate it, but again, pretty cool story. Chicago grown Talen Horton-Tucker makes the final roster for the Bulls. But some unfortunate news. Our sweet prince, Onuralp Bitim from Turkey, was waived. This was me being a wishful thinking Bulls fan when the Bulls did sign him last offseason. Then he got active midway through the year, and he had that one game where this was actually in his debut for the Bulls. He hit a big-time three and late in the fourth quarter. The crowd went crazy, and he was holding up that in the middle of the court. It's a sweet photo, but I love the intensity he played with, but he is just not an NBA athlete. He can't move his feet well laterally, can't stay in front of really athletic guards. So, it made a lot of sense since he is also not an elite knockdown three-point shooter, but he was waived. Then also Kenneth Lofton Jr. was waived as well, to make room for THT. Now, Kenneth Lofton, he is a very entertaining basketball player to watch. Like, even in the limited run he had for the Bulls this preseason, he is fun to watch. Big body, kind of like, I was about to compare him to Charles Barkley, but I want to disrespect Chuck like that. Zach Randolph, yeah, that's not a bad comparison for Kenneth. But, this was expected. I just don't think he's an NBA player. Like, he's not the athlete to get out there on the court and compete with other NBA athletes. Can't really move his feet too well. And plus, his game, if he were to become a very, very, let's just say a solid rotational player in the NBA, you would expect him to be a dead-eye shooter. He hasn't developed into that whatsoever. So Kenneth Lofton does get waived. But a move that the Bulls didn't make yesterday was they did not extend Josh Giddey. Now, this was a very polarizing, decision for the Bulls because, obviously Giddey, he was really good in his first 2 years with the Oklahoma City Thunder, but last year, just with the fit next to SGA, him not having the ball in his hands as much, he wasn't really able to get, in the flow of that offense. But I do think the Bulls made the right decision here. I think you're going to get a really good sample size of what Giddey can be for this team in the season. So I like them kind of playing the long game here with him. The one thing I do love about Giddey, he makes the Bulls offense a whole lot more modern. We saw them putting up a ridiculous amount of threes in the preseason, and over the last 2 years, the Bulls have shot the least amount of threes per game in the NBA. So I'm hoping he gives them a more modern feel. It's typical, you get the defense in rotation, and you're able to create open threes. Giddey can't do that, and he's an elite playmaker. He is a fantastic passer of the basketball, and I actually think, Zach LaVine, if you're trying to up his trade value before the deadline, having a guy like Giddey getting him the basketball is a huge plus. Hopefully LaVine's able to put up a lot of numbers next to Giddey, and the Bulls are able to deal him. But I'll ask you guys this. Would you have extended Giddey before the year? Keep in mind, there was a report out there by Bobby Marks that he wanted $30+ million per year. I would have not done that for that price range. But hey, let me know your guys' thoughts on that. Would you have extended Giddey down below? Now, coming up next, I do want to go over just some of the top storylines around the Chicago Bulls heading into the season. But first, got to give a massive shout-out to today's presenting sponsor, and that is PrizePicks. And if you guys download the PrizePicks app today, use promo code CLNS, you guys will get $50 instantly when you just play one $5 lineup. And the best part is you don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. So what is PrizePicks? PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, and it's the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings. PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. And how do you play? You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. They actually have a deal going on right now. Anthony Edwards, if he just scores 1 point tonight, you guys get a free win on PrizePicks. So with the basketball season getting underway tonight, if you guys want to take advantage of that, I highly suggest you guys do so. And plus, if you guys want to add a little more juice to the bowl season opener, PrizePicks is the #1 way to do so. So download the app today, use promo code CLNS, get $50 instantly, and shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring today's show. So the top storylines around the Bulls this season, #1, what I'm looking forward to is seeing Coby White take the next step. You know, we saw him go from a 9-point-a-game guy to a 20-point-a-game guy last season, but I want him to take that Tyrese Maxey step where he goes from 20 to 25, 26 a game, because what a better pitch to a potential superstar. You know, maybe if the Bulls set themselves up where they can go trade for a big-time name and, you know, you could view Coby White as a potential second, third option on a very, very good basketball team. So him taking that next step will be huge. Following the steps of Maxey, I think they're, you know, similar basketball players in terms of the way they play the game. Obviously, Maxey a way better shooter. You know, he's got, you know, better handles on him right now. But I could really see Coby White taking that next step and just be patient with him. Like we finally saw that jump last season. I think his numbers will look a little down at the beginning of the year with LaVine back in that rotation. But if the Bulls do trade LaVine, I want to see this guy getting most of the touches, most of the opportunities offensively. Now, #2 for me, you got to look at Modest Buzelis. Now, I don't want the Bulls to, you know, view Modest as a big-time developmental project. Like, I want them to throw him out there game one. He's getting 20, 25 minutes a game. Because we saw it in the Summer League, in the preseason. He has an NBA skill set. Just efficiency for him has been extremely, extremely low. And I think a big reason for that is he's just not accustomed to the NBA game so far. So put some more weight on his frame, get him just more real live reps. I think that could be huge for his development. But I will be very, very upset if they don't play him or if they send him to the G League for most of this season. I think that is just the worst thing you could do. You have a young, homegrown kid, get him the ball, get him chances to develop. Now, obviously, we got to talk about the trade deadline move. Like Vooch, LaVine, they're the 2 biggest names. But you also got to think about guys like Javon Carter, Torrey Craig, like role players who could be like the 8th or 9th guy on a championship team. They could be dealt as well. But, you know, I'm really hoping with Josh Giddey in this lineup, you know, the numbers for LaVine look a whole lot better. And then maybe a team like the Lakers, Spurs, or Heat could say, hey, we could go trade for LaVine, don't have to give up a ton of draft capital. And if you can make his contract work, like LaVine is still a very, very talented basketball player, like 3-level scorer. I think he would fit in really well in Miami or Los Angeles. So obviously we got to keep our eyes out for that. But then also this, Billy Donovan, is he going to be in the hot seat this year? I don't think there is any way the Bulls actually fire him midseason. I think this would be like the Bulls, maybe they have a complete disaster of a season. They win like 10, 20 games this year. And, you know, the front office is looking at it and they're saying, hey, we don't see developments from Modest, you know, Patrick Williams, Julian Phillips, like these younger players. If they don't develop, then I think Billy could be on the hot seat. But I don't really think Billy's been a big part of the issue for the Bulls over the last couple of years. I think it's just been roster construction. So something to definitely keep your eyes on. And then lastly, Patrick Williams signed that 5-year, $90 million deal this offseason. Are we going to get passive or aggressive P this year? Like, you know, he has been a very passive basketball player. He just likes to play in the flow of the offense. But I want to see him be aggressive, especially if LaVine or Vooch get dealt. Like, be aggressive, get him 15 to 18 shots a game. And if I were the Bulls, if I had to go like rank like shots per game, how I would want it, I would want Coby White #1 by a mile, and then I'll probably go Patrick Williams #2, and then like Giddey #3. This is obviously assuming if they do move off LaVine and Vooch, but you got to give him the ball, have him develop, and you know, if he does, he could be one of the better 3-and-D players in the NBA. But if you guys made it to the end of today's show, give me a real one down below in the comments section. Always appreciate all the real ones that watch this entire thing. And then also, I am on Twitter @PatSeeps is the handle. If you guys give me a follow over there, I'll give you guys a follow right back. See you guys next time. Go Bulls.